Hello, Roger Bisbee here from the Skill Builder channel. We've got a question that's come in from Sammy, and he said that over the last 2 years they've had persistent niggling leaks from this parapet wall here. This is a perfect party wall. If you've not seen these, this is what they did basically in response to the Great Fire of London and similar fires. They decided that the best way to stop the fire spreading through semi-detached or terraced houses was to take the brick wall through the roof in what they call a perfect party wall. Obviously, if you get a fire in one loft, it can't very easily spread through to the next loft, so it gives the fire brigade a fighting chance. Sammy's problem is not fire, hopefully. It's the persistent niggling leaks that he's getting from this parapet wall, this party wall here. He said that they're right on the edge where the brickwork is, little drips, and he said there's a bit of black staining down there. He said we've done everything we can. We've had the wall repointed, storm dry put on it, we've had all the flashings redone. This is where I really start wondering what's going on, because you can see that on his neighbour's roof, let's assume that these tiles and those tiles are the same, they look it. What they've done here, this would be a flashing that would go back maybe not to the original age of the building, but certainly it's a good age, and you can see that what they've done is a step flashing all the way down. But what they don't have is this bit over here on Sammy's roof, which is the bit that lays across the tiles. Now you may think that what's been done on Sammy's roof is a better bet than what's been done on his neighbour's roof, but in actual fact underneath these tiles is another bit of lead, and each bit of lead, either it's running all the way down to the bottom and into the gutter, or it's done with soakers, which are bits of lead, L-shaped lead, which go over one tile and under the other. So in every case you would have a kind of an overlap where the tiles overlap. You'd have a bit of lead underneath the tile so that anything that got in on the edge would be safely taken away down that channel down the edge of the roof. And that is how you basically deal with slate roofs. And it's also a good idea if you've got something like a plain clay tile or something like this. Now these are flat, and the trouble with flat as opposed to something like a double Roman or a pan tile where you've got a kind of a scallop, if you like, a valley and a peak in a valley where the water is channeled down. Any water that hits that roof and is blown, let's take a windy day, the water is hitting that roof, and because it's a steep pitch, the majority of the water is just going to run straight down. I mean, why would it bother going sideways? But little bits will get in there sideways. Little bits will be blown in by the rain. And you can see on every join here, you've got a tiny bit where the roofer has bashed the lead down there. Not all the way along, but just on that corner. And he's tried to stop any sideways wind-blown rain from getting in there. But then let's have a look at this. This is where he's overlapped the lead. You've got a piece of lead going under there and you've got a bit going on the top. What he's done is he's put a little welt in there just to keep it together, which is great, but that's a weak spot. You get a bit of wind-blown rain in there, you get a little bit of wind-blown rain in there. Over the course of 2 or 3 years, that lead will lift up. It's bound to, because you get a hot summer, it moves about, you get a bit of wind, you get a bit of water, a bit of frost, a bit of anything that's going to drive in there and lift that lead up at the edges. It just happens. Even with what this may even be a code 5 lead, which is a particularly heavy lead. That would be better than a code 4, or some people even use a code 3. And if you use a code 3, it will blow up in the first breeze that you get. So the heavier the lead, the better. You know, as you can see, the way it's been bashed down there in the corners is not great. So what I'm suggesting is that what they should have done is put a channel all the way down the side, or some kind of soakers under each piece of lead. Now there is another way of doing it which I really like, and that is a secret parapet gutter, and that is underneath the tiles. When these tiles are put on, they kind of cut the batten a little bit, and then they put an L-shaped piece of plastic in there which has got a small trough in it, and it probably requires the tiles to be cut slightly to get it under there, or some other arrangement. But the idea is that any water that gets in under that lead is going to arrive in that channel, and it's going to be safely taken away down to the bottom. So I think what I would suggest now is to lift that lead. I wouldn't take it off. I would just fold it all up so that it's folded at this point here, and then maybe take these tiles off all the way up just in this corner here. And I don't think they're interlocking tiles, but they're just made like a kind of a slate affair. So each one of those there's a gap there, but it's held by the other tile. This tile here, if you take this one here where my cursor is, the top of that tile will be somewhere up there. There's a good, what we call headlap on it, or should be anyway, and that would be an interesting thing to see just how much headlap there is. But because it's got a steep pitch, and because it looks to be similar to the ones next door, I don't think that's been touched in a good long time, that roof, so there should be nothing wrong with that. But what's happening is that whoever replaced that flashing, I think, made the wrong call, unless they put soakers underneath as well. And if they'd put soakers underneath as well, it's hard to think how the rain would ever get in there to produce these drips. So I'm putting my money, if I had any money, on windblown rain driving in on those edges, just in there, little bits running down. Once they're in there, they're kind of trapped by the lead, so they're going to finish up leaking down between the tile and the roof. If that had felt underneath it, which it probably doesn't have, then the membrane would be run up the edge of the roof as well as a kind of belt and braces measure. But you don't rely on membrane alone because it does rot, it does deteriorate. So a secret gutter or some kind of lead soaker in there would be a much better bet. You could even use aluminium soakers. They're nice and flat, and you can get them in quite large sizes. So an aluminium soaker, which would be put under the tile there and stretched all the way up to there, and then the other one would overlap it. So you wouldn't actually see them. They'd be hidden, but they'd be doing a great job. So that would be my preferred way of dealing with it, is just simply to fold that lead up all the way along, put a soaker or secret gutter in there. Shame, because it looks actually not too bad a job, does it? A bit of step flashing in there. Somebody's obviously taken a great deal of care over it, but the thing is, you can't stick lead down. You might think all I've got to do is lift that up and run a bead of mastic adhesive all the way down there and then put the lead back on top, and it would stop it from going across. But the trouble with that is that if you trap lead and then it heats up, it expands in the summer, it gets quite hot, you get a fair degree of expansion, which is why it's been done in sections, because you should never do any more than, say, 5 feet length of lead, 1,500 millimeters of lead, before you have a join in it, so that it stops it buckling and cracking. In that respect, he's done everything right, this guy, but I'm just calling into question, I'm not saying 100%, but I'm just calling into question whether that's the right way to deal with a plain clay tile. Let me know what you think, roofers. I'm a plumber, so lead work is something that I do, and I was always told that you need to have a soaker under a plain clay or a secret gutter. So I hope that helps you, Sammy. It looks like you might have to call the guy back in, see what he can do for you. They're a bit of a nuisance, Perfect Party walls. They've kind of done away with them now. They put a bit of fire barrier under the tiles between the two houses, just on top of the brick wall that goes through. In some houses, you don't even get a brick wall. You can get up in the loft and you can walk all the way along the terrace and come down in your neighbour's house. I've done many plumbing jobs where that's the case, where you could walk along, you could see other people's suitcases, Christmas decorations, all the things in the loft. Very often, if you go to buy a house like that, then before you get a mortgage, they will insist upon you bricking up, or blocking up as we do, the gap between the houses in the loft, you know, all the way to the top. And then you put this intumescent foam thing right on the top of the blockwork under the tiles to stop any fire getting through. Well, it doesn't stop it, but it slows it down. I think that's the key to it, it slows it down, hopefully giving the fire brigade time to get there. I'm Roger Bisbee. Come back and see me soon. Send in your questions.